let's look at one more, and I'm going to let you do an example yourself and see what we can do. This is a little bit large. Of course, this gets into 3-digit multiplication now, so this is going to be different. Now, I'm not going to take out my decimals this time. I'm going to go ahead and work through the problem. So if I've got 0, 2, and 4, and I'll put a 0 here, 0, 4, and 8. But now I have to keep in mind too, we also often forget this. If I've got 3-digit multiplication, when I get to this third digit over here, I've got to start my answer 3 places over. So I need to put 2 zeros here, and then 2 times 0 is 0, then 4, then 8 once again. Now, let's add this all the way down. I've got 92820. This is my answer. Now I've got to go back and figure out how many decimal places to work with this time. Now this one's going to look a little bit different. I've got 4.20. But notice this digit is still behind this decimal. So in this top number, I've got a total of 2 decimal places. Same thing here. I've got a decimal. I've got 2 digits behind it, total of 2 decimal places on each line. So my entire problem has a total of 4 decimal places. Okay. Now I know I'm doing this a little bit quickly, so if you need to go back and replay this, that's fine. That's the whole idea of doing this. 2 decimal places here, 2 decimal places here. That's where this 2 comes from. This 2 from here. Those 2 together. 4 decimal places in this entire problem. I come down to my answer now, and I'm going to back up 1, 2, 3, 4 places. So that decimal will go behind the 9, and my answer turns out to be 9.2820. Now, looks a lot different than 92820 by itself, but if you stop and think about it, 0.20 and 0.21 are not whole numbers. So if I took the whole numbers of 4 and 2, 4 times 2 is 8. So this number is not very much larger than 8. That sounds like a reasonable answer for this particular problem. All right, now your turn. We'll start with one that's fairly small. You work this one out on your own, and then pause your video, and then we'll come back and check it in just a minute. Alright, 6 times 5 is 30. Carry your 3. 6 times 2 is 12, plus the 3 gives you 15. Finish with a 6, put a 0 here. 3 times 5, carry 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. I've got a 0, 10, 9. So I've got 900 for this one. But now let's go back and look. Decimal, 1 digit. Decimal, 1 digit. Total of 2 digits. So if I'm going to come down here to the bottom and back up 1, 2 places, I'll get an answer of 9.00. In this case, if I'm going to rewrite my answer, I could just rewrite it as simply 9. And if you were to say something like this on a multiple choice test, this may be the answer choice that you're given. So be sure that you can relate that this number here and this number here are both the same thing. They mean exactly the same thing. All right, let's try one more example before we move on. All right, pause your video and work this one out and come back in just a minute and check and see how you did. All right, now let's look at it. 6, 18, carry 1. That gives you 10 here. Cross that out, put a 0. 2 times 2, 2 times 6, and that makes 7 here. So let's add this down. And I get 8326 on this one. 8326. Let's go back up here and look again. Check and see what we've got. Decimal, 1, 2 digits. Decimal, 1, 2 digits. Total of what? Well, I've got 1, 2 here, 1, 2 here. Total of 4 this time. So once again, I need to come down here and back up. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 digits. So this time I have to come all the way back to the front and put my decimal in front of that. So my answer is 0.8326. Now, this is going to start. Going to finish off this particular video. There will be some more to follow a little bit later on. You've got several examples in here. Go back and replay this as many times as you need to. The addition, the subtraction, and the multiplication. There will be a subsequent video to follow later on where we'll do some division and take a closer look at that. But I need for you to practice these problems here as much as you possibly can. And good luck and do well.